Everybody. Hope everybody's having a good evening and everybody had a good week. I wasn't on most of the time this week, but I wanted to go over what we saw this week. Now I thought we were going to get a pull down this week to this area and bounce, but the buyer said no, and they came back to a previous area here that they created on July 7th, 9th, 8th, and the 11th that they've been testing multiple times. So market opened up here. We got the move up to test this area, which was a new all-time high on the Nasdaq, and we came down the previous day, and then we sold off. And this sell-off gave all the power for the rest of the week. So literally from the 16th all the way until today, we got all the way up into a new all-time high, and then we sold off. You can see that move happening. I've taken off VWAP because it makes the chart look cleaner, but you can see here, this is where all the consolidation was, and they finally tried to push price up, and it got failure, and then we pushed down, and they're just taking profit off of VWAP. You can see it there. If we go on the QQQ chart, this is about the same. QQQ looks exactly the same. I will take off VWAP, make it look cleaner, and you can see here the same sort of supply area that they were buying. We revisited it, and that was the move that catapulted everything all the way up until today, where today they took profits. We go on that chart again, and as I said, we bring up this here, and we have the profit taking off of VWAP. But look at that, right off of this zone, moves and moves all the way up. Mainly this was triggered by Trump saying that he wanted to fire Fed Chair Powell, and he said that he's trying to do it, and that's what triggered this move off of this zone, because we had a move down, and that's what triggered this. They tried to push this down all the way past this demand zone, but buyers just absorbed this news, and this day it just bounced and it just kept going, and that's what moved that up. On the S&P 500, we got the same kind of move, another new all-time high on the future side. And again, it did the exact same thing. We revisited a zone that we revisited on the 7th. We created this on the 2nd. We have it again on the 7th, and we revisit again the 14th, and finally test at 2 o'clock in the morning, and then again at 10. And that's the news that I was talking about with Trump. We came in, and that was all it was. Literally after this, buyers just said, we love it. We think we are going to get an interest rate cut, or Powell might get fired. So we got that move up. One thing I wanted to show, we have a lot of earnings coming up. So we have July 30th, we have Meta. Meta is currently, looks like it's in a downtrend on the daily chart. It's below VWAP on the daily chart, and you can see that they are literally walking price down. We'll put an anchored VWAP there. You can see once we got the test down, and then we can put another anchored VWAP here. We can probably below it. Yep, they're just walking price down. I don't know what they're walking it down to, because you can see these anchored VWAPs on the bottom of this move. This is when everything started going everybody's way, with Trump announcing the removal of the pause of the tariffs on April 22nd. I don't know where they're going to come to. They could come to here, because this, if we look at this here, this was a previous resistance, probably from here about here. So they could come down here. This was, you can see that this was an area that they bought off previously before. They could come down here, and this could flip from being resistance, previous resistance, to flip as support. So there's a possibility that that happens here, because you can see that that did act as support previously there. So that is a possibility there. So that's something to keep your eyes on Meta. 671 to 688. I know that's a big range, but I'm just using the daily chart to see where a lot of everything was. You could kind of say it was here as well too, but this is the area where they previously bought. So in this range is where you would be looking to see if they get support. Microsoft, new all-time highs. This thing is just on a run. You can see it hasn't even broken this channel. It's literally stayed within this channel, and it is just going. I don't see where it's going to stop. I don't see a reason for it to move down. Maybe if they have bad earnings, or somebody wants to take some profits, but what's going on here? If somebody wants to take some profits, but currently right now, Microsoft is on an absolute tear. I don't know why this is taking so long. You can see literally it's just stepping up, just up, and continues going. And they could have bought, let's see, is this anchored VWAP is the one that they're using? Let's see. No, not really, but here they were using it. They're using this anchored VWAP to move price, and then it got below it, and that's where buyers, they consolidated for 2 days, got above, and it was gone. So that could have been, well, this was on July 3rd. That wasn't this week, but this week we just made another all-time high. So everything is on the move. I wanted to pull up the Tesla chart. Tesla's earnings coming up July 23rd, so that's next week. Next week Wednesday. Next week Wednesday, Tesla earnings. We've come into a supply zone where they had issues before. This is where they tried, they came down, they tried, and they failed. They bounced back up, and then they had the big gap, and they filled that gap so far. It got rejected, and it's back up here. So we could possibly see earnings, and they push price up, depending on how everything goes, but I doubt it. But this was what I'm seeing here on the areas of resistance, because this was the serious resistance here. We got that major one, and then we had this one that they were having problems with. So higher lows on the 4-hour, on the 1-hour chart, and then on the daily chart as well. This was a perfect week to trade it, because if you could have gotten this bottom here, you get this move up off of Trump's information, then you got a big nice move up there. Who else did I want to look at? Apple hasn't figured itself out yet. I had thought that this higher low was going to lead to a move. We got one day where we had a really nice bounce this week. It was this here. We got a dip down. We bounced up. But you can see that there's not a lot of momentum in these moves. This was a really nice one. We came back and we tested this pre-market low. They test, and they got the rocket up. It was a really nice move up. But other than that, we aren't getting the breakout that we wanted to see. It's just literally staying within this supply zone. It's having issues. So it is curling up. So we can potentially see a move up, but I don't know when it's going to happen. And Apple has earnings coming up on the 31st. And usually you can see Apple earnings are very bearish. So I see earnings here. This is on May 1st. Push price down. Here again, 30th. Push price down. Here again, push price down. So Apple's earnings is always usually bearish. I don't know why, but we'll see what happens when it comes. Google was a trade that worked out. If you could have gotten any one of these days, I'll put VWAP back up here. Any one of these days, because we were looking at this consolidation. This ate up a bunch of premium on the 14th. So you didn't get much, but if you could have gotten this day, would have been perfect. But this is what we were watching, Google, because this contract made a nice move all week from 180 all the way up to 185. I thought we were going to get out. I thought it was going to make up to here, but we hit the last day, 186.70. But that is the supply zone where there is a bunch of resistance here. So we have earnings coming up on the same day as Tesla. So the 23rd seems like it's going to be a big day. Earnings could push price up. Let's take a look at the options flow for next week. Next week, 25th. Everybody is it's balanced, very balanced. This is this week, but it's very balanced. You see, a lot of people are targeting these 200 calls. A lot of contracts were traded there. Not a lot of puts, but a lot of people. I don't know why there's such heavy volume on these 200 contracts. Maybe let's go to the weekly expiry. 200 and 190. 200 and the 190. That's what they're looking at. So that's something to keep your eye on. The 23rd for Google. And Nvidia has been an absolute beast. No one wanted to buy it down here when it was at the low and it was bouncing around. No one wanted to buy it, but now, oh my, look at that. Literally, it just kept going. It's literally just trading off of VWAP. The daily chart VWAP is what you can trade off of. When it comes down to it, you buy it. And that's literally what's worked. It's absolutely nuts. And when's the last red week? The last red week is in June. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks straight green weeks on Nvidia. Absolute beast. And I believe AMD had one red week. That was a consolidation in June after making the move up. But AMD and Nvidia are leading these semiconductors on a nice move up. You can see this was the anchored VWAP they were buying off of. This is an anchored VWAP from the high. I'll probably have to get rid of that now. But you can see this here. I don't know if everybody uses the anchored VWAP, but came up. We tested it a couple times, and that's when the buyers just moved it up. It's absolutely perfect, and ever since then, it's just been above VWAP. They're literally just buying VWAP on the daily chart. That's all that's happening. So make sure you guys have VWAPs on your chart. And as well, too, you have SMCI, who is getting the bullish algo from AMD and Nvidia. So people are just pouring into the chips, the semiconductors, I'm sorry. You also have Micron, which I found very interesting. This is a previous resistance that we are revisiting now. This could be the same thing that what AMD did. They had a resistance that they couldn't break. They broke out of it, and then they're revisiting it now. This may be an opportunity to load up for a move up. They don't have earnings until September 24th. But when I go into the earnings for September 24th, that week, this is the 19th. I can't see the weekly charts, but before that, it's very bearish. I don't know what this is. I don't know if they took profits, because when I go into those contracts, I'm not able to see where the buys and sells are. There's not a large print. This one's, I don't know if that's selling or not. I can't tell. There's another large print. So it could be them taking profits or closing out their position, but this is what I looked at for that week. And then we go into this, and it's very bearish still. Like, I don't understand where this is coming from. So something to keep your eye on. Boeing is in a balanced consolidation right now. The last time we had this balanced consolidation was down here. This is when that flight had crash landed. And after this consolidation, you can see this anchored VWAP from the move down acted as a resistance. And after they blew past it, it was gone. Literally, you just had to either wait for the pullback after this big strength, and then it was gone. You can see this move straight from 206 straight up to 229. And that's where it's trading right now. And we're in a balanced environment. And again, there's a big candle. Anchored VWAP, they're just buying off of it. So we are seeing a balanced environment until you figure out what direction they want to go. You would want to stay away from this because it would eat all your premium, because price is literally just going up and down, up and down, up and down. If you're going to trade options, that is tough. But you could possibly trade these zones bottom green demand to supply zone. And TSM, again, getting a bullish algo similar to AMD and Nvidia, and that's at all-time highs, and I don't know where it's going to stop. It continues to go. So it's tough. And they just had earnings on the 17th, which caused a little bit of a pullback. I didn't have any of that information. So, and then we have Uber. Uber is below. It's one of these major anchored VWAPs that were being supported previously before. You can see that it moved price up, and now it's below it. So what I would want to see is a test and a failure down to potentially 83. This is what I would want to see. But you need to see a test and a failure, because you don't want to try and short this and it rips up on you and rips up to highs. You want to see the failure after this test of this area. That's about it for everything. I hope everybody enjoyed this session. Like I said, I'm going to try and do this every Friday and Sunday to get things out, to be consistent, and this is my Friday. So hope everybody had a good day and have a great weekend. Thank you. Bye-bye.